Definitely, I'm curious, and what history will tell us this is how much did the banking crisis change the Bitcoin cycle? Did it change the Bitcoin cycle? I don't know if it did, but there's no doubt that right here, right on the charts, this is where all of a sudden we got, I mean, we were selling off pretty sharply, and then the banking crisis happened and we started to rip up.
Hey guys, welcome back to Library of Wealth. Today we have Gareth Soloway discussing the current state of the crypto market and where Bitcoin is headed in the coming weeks. As of the recording of this video, Bitcoin is sitting just above 29,200, down 3% in the last 5 days. Bitcoin rallied almost 70% in the first 3 months of the year, contradicting expectations for a continued market decline. Soloway suggests that the market needs to break through and stay above the $30,000 level before turning bullish. Soloway also observes the Bitcoin dominance chart, highlighting its consolidation phase, and predicts that the market is due for a pullback. Let's get right into the latest interview with Gareth Soloway as he gives us his prediction for Bitcoin and the crypto market in the coming weeks. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. It's a tremendous help for the growth of the channel and helps us bring you more content just like this.
So I would say this is if we can get above 30,500 being such a psychological level and we actually hold there. So for me, I would actually want to see us stay above for 5 to 7 trading days with the weekends in there and stuff and the light volume. I want to see us hold above there. If that happens, then I think at that stage, I would say the likelihood is we have a low on Bitcoin. Doesn't mean that you would go bullish there, right? You still have an extended chart. You might say, okay, well, on a pullback, now I start buying heavily, right? So that's the key, is that the mindset starts to change from shorting more heavily to buying more heavily on the pullbacks, right? So shorting the pops to buying the dips. Right here as well, right over here, you can see how we consolidated and then broke down. So we've basically done a full circle back of this period to breakdown to going back to that area right there. And so again, that's why it's a lot of resistance. There's just a ton of people that are looking to unload into that area. There were people that were buying in here that then got crushed out of the money. They're finally being made whole. So some of them are selling their Bitcoins into it. The other thing that's kind of interesting is we still haven't seen an altcoin season, if you will, following this run. Look at the charts on Matic. Matic continues to just be so weak here. In fact, this is an interesting chart on Matic, how you have these parallel lines and you're right on support down here. If this breaks, that would be bad. As long as it holds, it could be okay. But I mean, this is a really big level on Matic. And you could look at Solana, you could look at Avalanche, you could look at Cardano, Polkadot. None of them have had runs where they've hit the highs from earlier in the year or late last year, versus Bitcoin and Ethereum actually pierced those highs. I mean, there'll be quick trading opportunities along the way. There's a really good support here around 74 cents. And then obviously double bottom would give you a potential for a bounce. But this is important for, I mean, you're in a period where you're starting to see Bitcoin and Ethereum really gain dominance. You need to see the alts start to participate. If they can't participate in this period, then what happens when the stock market starts to decline and things get a little rougher out there for money, right? So XRP had an amazing run, right? I mean, we saw that big pop up and then you fell back. Here was a classic bearish pattern, which told you so we were going down. And essentially what you've done is you've retraced into this area here. That was the low just a few days ago. So it's retraced into a lot of support here. Again, I have no idea what the judge's decision will be, whether it will come in the near term, in the long term. But my guess is, and again, I'm just going to throw this out there, is that the same reason that Coinbase is worried about not knowing the clarity and they're not getting rules, my guess is the judge's decision probably has been made. It just is not being allowed to be made public. They're trying to get everything in alignment for what they want. The question I would say is, when going back to this, is does it have something to with making sure that they debut their CBDC first before they give that clarity, so that no cryptocurrency gains a stronger traction versus the CBDC? So again, my year-end target's about 23 to 2,400. Right now, we've had this beautiful run up, and I love the price action recently. This is bullish consolidation. It's right below this triple top area here. My guess is we start moving up. Yeah, you'll stall there, but ultimately, I think we break out. Gold to me is that perfect opportunity, right? It's if inflation stays high and the Fed has to keep interest rates high, gold is where you want to be with inflation high. If inflation collapses because the economies are collapsing, then the safety trade is gold, right? So it works on almost any angle you throw at it. So again, I do believe that gold goes up. And just to do a quick calculation, there's something called a measured move, where basically what you do here on the charts is you say, okay, this was the beginning of that bull run here. So you went from here all the way up to this high, which is about $900, about $1,000. We'll call it around $1,000. So the idea is a measured move. You take that same 1,000, and when you break above this 2075, you would essentially add 1,000 there, which gets you that 3,000 price target you're talking about. The bigger question is, how long does that take? My guess is 2024, probably not this year, but I could see by late 2024 that is a possibility. So when I look at least when I zoom out on this chart, what I love showing people is this is a classic cup and handle pattern, right? So a lot of us that have studied any charting, we know the cup and handle pattern. Well, there's your cup, and then look at the handle that's been forming.
Perfect.
So that is a classic bullish chart setup. And yeah, very likely you could see a move to the upside. Absolutely. American politics, to sum it up, is to do and say what the people want you to say. You know, that's really the essence of it. So if you go on Twitter, right, you know, the most popular thing on Twitter and almost daily, the Gensler hashtag is trending. And so these politicians aren't stupid. They see that. They want to get headlines. They want to get sound bites out. They want to be seen by the people to be attacking him. And honestly, it's so sad that that's what it is. But all they're concerned about is, can I get more votes for my next reelection campaign, which is one of the reasons why I think that being able to be reelected is the worst political move ever. It should be one term, make the terms longer, I don't care, but one term and you're done, right? Otherwise, you have this incentive to, and I didn't mean to get off onto politics, but you have this incentive to always do what's good in the short run versus what the country needs in the long run. And that's the problem. That's what's got us where we are right now. So I think more and more politicians are favoring crypto. And so I do think that going towards the more popular side of things is to get regulation out there, let people know the news. And I think one of the biggest things is you have Coinbase, who's now threatening to leave the US because they just can't get any regulatory clarity, which is really ridiculous, right? I mean, how long has it been now that Gary Gensler and his team, and I'm not, by the way, I'm not trying to attack him, but they need to just give the rules, right? How do you invest in an area where the rules aren't super clear? You don't know what the heck you're doing. So now for small investors, for me buying a little Bitcoin or me buying a little this, that's fine. But when you're talking about hedge funds, pension funds, mega money, they can't do any serious investing. And so you're really keeping, and you got to wonder, is there an ulterior motive here of why they don't want to give the rules? Do they want to keep people out of the crypto markets or the big money out of the crypto markets for longer? Right now, I mean, I couldn't even imagine a country trying to, I mean, look at El Salvador, right? I mean, you know, trying to tie your country to Bitcoin is very risky at this point. But, you know, you look in 10 years or 20 years, yeah, I could see it being tied to Bitcoin or to another cryptocurrency. In terms of the gold standard returning, to me, it's very unlikely that major countries will, because countries, as much as we're seeing the printing of money and what it's caused, government officials don't want to lose control, right? They don't want to say, hey, we have to hold X amount of gold, and oh, that means if we want to print this much, we have to get this. They don't want to do that. They want free reign, and that's the problem. And then, by the way, that's gotten us into the problem we're in.
Soloway believes that the next sell in Bitcoin may come from issues like an economic recession in the US that could lead to a substantial collapse in the stock market. This could cause panic selling in Bitcoin and other risk assets as people try to cover margin calls or bring money into their stock portfolios. Soloway continues a long-term bullish stance on Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in general. He emphasizes the importance of diversification and reinforces the idea that during a banking crisis, the need for cryptocurrency, specifically Bitcoin, is a crucial asset to have. What do you think about Gareth Soloway's prediction for Bitcoin and the crypto market in the coming weeks? And how does this impact countries that hold the US dollar as their reserve currency? Comment down below. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This is Library of Wealth. We'll see you in the next video.